All right, everybody, JC here. Happy Thursday. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, early evening, and I'm about to head to my wife's restaurant slash boba shop. So let's just see how Tesla FSD does tonight. All right, let's go. Here we go. To leave the neighborhood, coming up to the stop sign. Complete and total 0 mph NHTSA stop. Put on the right blinker, take a right turn, very smooth. Stayed within our lane, which was especially important with that oncoming vehicle. Got a bike rider to the right, but they're safely on the sidewalk, so no fits for Tesla FSD. This particular version of Tesla FSD has really gotten good around pedestrians and bicycle riders. It's not having the heebie-jeebies, as I like to call it. That's a scientific term, by the way. But it used to really, especially when we were on version 11, version 13. I'm already thinking in the future. All right, coming to a four-way stop. I'll put a pin in that for a second. Come to our stop. Wait our turn. I think they're trying to figure out where they are in their turn as well. And we go. And we go at the exact right time. It was a little bit cautious there, so we left at the exact right time for that four-way stop. But I think with the truck directly across from us to our front left, it was being as cautious as well, so we were matching that cautiousness. So again, waited and went at the exact right time, but when we did go, I'd say it was a little more cautious than it needed to be. Because we did have the right of way, and the truck directly in front of us to the front left did not have their blinker on, so they were not signaling that they were going to be making a left turn from their viewpoint. So we should have been fine. But again, we all know things could happen in four-way stops that can be not scheduled or a little uncanny. So I'm actually okay with it being a little bit cautious at that particular four-way stop, just with the amount of traffic that was in there. But if I'm going to be honest, yeah, it was a little bit, not sure if that came across in the video, but it was a little more cautious than it needed to be. Again, no harm, no foul. And if you were in the back seat of an Uber on your phone or doing homework or reading emails, you'd have never noticed. You'd have never known. But we're not there yet. We are still supervising. We are still sitting in the front seat, supervising and monitoring everything. So as long as we're in that mode, we need to talk about those things. We need to talk about those subtle nuances that goes from feeling a little bit robotic to human-like. And when it's that cautious, I would put that into a bit more of the robotic column. So I just want to be honest and transparent on that. Again, we're completely talking about nuanced stuff. We're not talking interventions versus non-interventions. We're talking about literally the feel of the drive. And so I want to portray that to you as well. Very good left turn there. Very smooth. Stayed in our lane. Maintained speed. That was actually better than a lot of humans do. So I called it out at the four-way stop, so I ought to give it its flowers when it does something that's even better than you would feel as a passenger with most human drivers. Okay, so we are on North Park Drive which is a 45 mile per hour zone, and we are currently going 39 in a 45. So we are going about 5 miles per hour slower than we should be going right now. Yeah, you see that car just got around us. Now, they're going a little faster than 45, but yeah, we should be going a little faster than this right here. This is about 5 miles per hour slower than, and now it's picking up all of a sudden. Right before we get to the stop light, it started picking up. It got up to 42 before it had to slow down. So there's something about that 100 to 200 foot section, or I should say 100 yards. That was a little longer than 100 feet. About a 100-yard section there where it was going 39 and a 45. And it's a funny thing. It's so like what I've noticed on 12.5.6.3, which is the version I'm currently on, is about 95% of the time, and especially on the highways, it is just really good about picking the right speed to go at. I mean, doggone near perfect. But then there's still this 5% of the time, and I would say it's not, the other thing about it, well, let me finish my thought. There's 5% of the time where it's not choosing it correctly, and it's almost always going too slow. Like there, about 5 to 6 miles slower than the rest of traffic. But what I was also going to say is it's not random. It's like literally the same spots that I go through. And so I can almost, now that I've had it for a couple of weeks, I almost know exactly where it's going to start slowing down. So I would say the variables I've seen, well, let's get through this right turn here. Hurry, come up to the stop. We have a protected right, so we should go. Could have gone a little faster than that. We had a protected green there. Now we have a car going directly in front of us. That was ill-advised on their part, but we handle it very, very well. And let me go back to that right turn. It was also really cautious on that right turn. It went into that right turn about 1 mile or 2 per hour slower than it needed to because we had a protected green. Now that being said, I get it. Just because you have a protected green, you still need to be cognizant of everything around you because, you know, other folks, they don't always obey traffic laws. And it's not going to matter if somebody plows into you while you're sitting there going, well, I had a protected green. Your car's not going to care when its doors are off its hinges, right? So I get it. You still want to be a little cautious, but I would say that was a couple of miles per hour slower than it needed to be going through that specific area there. We had a little bit of a light touch of the brakes right there. What I don't know is that car that was directly to our right, I could see them kind of moving up. I personally don't think they were looking to try to get into traffic early like that other car did, but obviously it reacted to that car. So interestingly, about 2 or 3 times already into this drive, it's had a few spots here where it's been a little overly cautious. So a couple of, like the 4-way stop where it was a bit too cautious, 1 to 2 miles per hour too cautious, going slow, going about 5 miles per hour slow on that 100-yard stretch, going a little slow into that right turn onto Westlake Houston Parkway, and then just believe me, by no means what just happened, that was not a phantom brake whatsoever. I mean, I did not get thrown out of my seat. That was like a light touch of the brakes. But honestly, I saw that other vehicle, and I'm not sure that touch of the brakes was warranted. So just from a human feel perspective, I wouldn't have done that. So that's 4 things so far. Now, not one of those things is an intervention, worthy of an intervention. And like I said, most of them, I would say, would not have even prompted the attention of somebody sitting in the back seat of an Uber doing something else. If I think through all 4, the only thing that would have probably, maybe that little light touch of the brakes. I'm not even sure, because it didn't like thrust me forward or anything like that. All right, we got to stop here, leave a courtesy. Well, they're leaving the courtesy gap, so good for them. The Lincoln there, that's a old school Lincoln too. All right, continuing to progress through. Have a little congestion here at the intersection of Westlake Houston Parkway and Kingwood Drive, but that is absolutely normal for this time of day, 4:45 in the evening, late afternoon. School is out. We're smack dab in the middle of Thursday evening rush hour for folks getting home. So to be expected. So yeah, going back, I know I put a pin in the speed selection. So I am on automatic set speed offset. And so I allow the software to select the applicable speed that it goes on. And how it selects that speed is not just based on the neural net that the inference chip is running the data set off of, but there's other external variables as well. Obviously, the speed limit is going to be the major input, but it's also the vehicles around you. So it will not only take the stated speed limit as an input, but the vehicles around you are just as important of an input as the stated speed limit. So when it does that, when it's going like 39 and a 45, there are times when I won't call that out as an issue if the rest of traffic around me is also going 4 to 5 miles below the speed limit, because there are scenarios like that. And so in those scenarios, I would much rather it be consistent with the traffic around the Tesla than just trying to obey, or not obey in this case, but follow the exact speed limit on the speed limit sign. Similarly, on the highway, just because it says 55 miles per hour, if the rest of traffic is going 75, we all know the safest thing to do is to go 75. If you go 55 on a road where the other 1,000+ vehicles around you are going 75, that is unsafe. And I think even though they can't say it publicly, police officers would agree with you. Because how many times have you been going 70 in a 55 and have a police officer go right by you because everybody else is going right by you? So they don't say it directly, but they're saying it with their non-actions. Go with the rest of traffic. So that's why I say all that to, like, if it's going with traffic, I don't call it out. But if it's going 5 to 6 miles per hour slower than the speed limit, and it's going slower than the traffic around it, I'm going to call it out. Because then there's something that the software is not correctly interpreting. All right, we're continuing down Westlake Houston Parkway. Like I said, doing a great job thus far. And everything I'm calling out right now is 100% subtle nuance stuff. Again, I've gotten to the point where in the vast majority of the drives that I do here in the northeast part of the greater Houston metropolitan area, I generally don't have more than an intervention or two, and they're all non-critical. Like they're generally, I'm knock on wood as I say that, but I don't have critical interventions. I've had 12.5.6.3 for 2 weeks now, and I have only had one critical intervention in the entire 2 weeks that I've had it. And the interesting thing about that critical intervention that I had, we were stopped and going 0 miles per hour. that critical intervention. It was where it made an improper lane selection on the Rice University campus. And because of that improper lane selection, it ended up getting itself into the wrong lane of a one-way road, a two-way that it turned into a one-way, and it didn't recognize that the road had turned into a one-way. Anyway, there's a whole video I did on that. It's my video where I went to Rice University, the medical center, and the museum district, and you can see it in there. I had what I consider a critical intervention there. So that's it. In the 2 weeks I've had it, that's the only one I've had. So generally speaking, if I were to say what has been my average drive since being on 12.5.6.3, it's been the entire drive with 0 critical interventions, and usually 1 to 2 non-critical interventions. And those are always small, quick accelerator pushes to get through a blinking red light, or to obey the hand signals of a police officer who's asking me to disobey a lawful traffic sign, right? Like you know those scenarios, school zones, where it's clearly there's a stop sign and it says 4-way stop, but you got a police officer doing this. So obviously you want to obey the police officer. Now, I want to point out, we are going 38 in a 45 right now. And the only problem is I want to call this out, 39 in a 45 now. But I'm trying, the traffic around me is all going the same. And I kind of was assuming why we were, because there's that stretch right there where it wants to go 5 to 6 miles per hour slower, but why does everybody else want to do the same damn thing? So it's kind of hard to call out the software when the car's direct, and they weren't even behind me, they were in the other lane. So now we're going 45 in a 45, so that's better. Whoo, that sun is coming right through. But we're doing good. And we are going over Lake Houston right now, over the bridge over Lake Houston. 47 in a 45, now we're doing great. So we've had 2 stretches on this drive where we've gone anywhere from 5 to 7 miles below the speed limit. Now, to be fair, those were in 40 to 45 mile per hour speed zones. So going 40 in a 45 or 35 in a 40 isn't like terrible. So it's not like going 55 in a 75, or going 45 in a 65 or something like that. But still, it's like, why? Just go with traffic. That one right there, though, I can't say it wasn't going with traffic. So, I don't know. I can say it was going slower than it needed to. And part of me, now that I think about it, we were going directly into the sun. And probably, as you probably saw on the passenger or the driver facing video, that sun was coming right at me. So that may have had something to do with it, but still, just wanted to call that out. And it's just being a little bit extra cautious on this drive. A little extra cautious today. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Continuing to move along on Westlake Houston Parkway. The navigation, instead of staying here on Westlake Houston Parkway, we are actually it's going to have us take a right up here in about 200 feet at Upper Lake Drive. And generally what that means is it's going to take us through a couple of neighborhoods before we get to my wife's family restaurant. And that may be because it's picking up that the area up there around Westlake Houston Parkway and 1960 is pretty bad. Although it's a little slow going through these neighborhoods, but again, the navigation isn't necessarily going, or isn't saying to itself, well, which one has the least stop and go? It's saying, no, son, you told me to let you know if I can get you there a minute or more quicker. And based on the traffic data I have and my internal navigation system, I can get you there 74 seconds sooner by doing this. So trust me and enjoy the drive. So we are edging up to Upper Lake. We still have a red light here, but we can turn right on red in Texas. So we continue to move up, waiting for the traffic in front of us, but now we have the green light, so should be no hesitancy, and there is not. Great job. Stay in our lane, very smooth. Moving over to the left because we will be taking another left up here at the stop sign in about another 100 feet. And like I said, we'll be going through this neighborhood, likely another one. All right, we should be getting over into the left turning lane. There we go. Come up to the three-way stop. Wait our turn. After we take a 0 mph stop, it is our turn. We go. No hesitancy whatsoever there. Great job. Smooth turn. Stays in the lane. And it looks like we will be on this road for about a quarter of a mile and take a right on Kings Parkway. We're going to have to get back over to the left though because there's a car parked along the road. There we go. Good adjustment. I do like the fact that it tries to get back over into the right lane now. The only issue is in a lot of these neighborhoods, people will park. If there's two lanes, people will park outside of their house. So you can't always get all the way over to the right lane and just stay there like you could on a highway. Right. We are at Kings Parkway. We have a four-way stop here. And forgive me, I know it sounds like I have no clue where we're going, which neighborhoods we're going into. And the reason why is because I like to keep the full self-driving visual up on my screen for y'all. I like y'all to be able to see that. I know I've had folks comment before that they really like having the full screen of the FSD drive, and I'm good with that. I am absolutely good with that. I enjoy having that up there too. But the only downside to it is the only navigational map that I see is in the upper right corner there. And so I don't get the full, I get the full FSD visual, but I do not get the full navigational visual. And so I only get to see about a quarter of a mile ahead of me on this. But again, that's fine, because when I do these FSD drives, especially the ones that I film, I want to do it for the FSD drive itself and testing out the software and being able to show it to you. So it's less important to me that I know exactly where I'm going in the next 2 to 3 miles. And it's more important to me that I'm able to give you the best view possible of the FSD drive. And in my humble opinion, as well as many others who have commented, I think you get the best visual with the current camera setup that I have right now, as well as having the full FSD visual on my user interface, my screen. So I will stick with that unless somebody, you know, a bunch of folks comment to me that they don't really care about the screen. I might, you know, consider that, but to this point, most every comment I've gotten about the screen has been, yes, we like having the visual, or yes, you know, please, even though sometimes you need to see the map or you need to see your destinations, please put it back on the FSD visual when you're done. So that's what I'm going with. All right, we are now going across FM 1960. We are on Kings Parkway. Actually, I think Kings Parkway turned into another name here once you cross over 1960. And forgive me, I don't remember. I'll look over to the side here, but I think it's Kings Parkway when you're in Kingwood. But as soon as you cross FM 1960, you're technically in the Humble, Atascocita area. So I think it changes names. It's still Kings Parkway. Okay. My bad. We are still on Kings Parkway, and we are about to take a right turn up here at Atascocita Road. And so, as you might imagine, where do you think we are now if we're on Atascocita Road? You guessed it, Atascocita, Texas. So I got a pretty good inkling where it's taking us at this point. Please be patient, student driver. You're absolutely fine with me. I'm not even driving. I'll be extremely patient. You know why? Because I'm not driving. All right. I'll move up after the student driver moved on to Atascocita Road, and they did a great turn. Good job on the student. All right, going directly into the sunlight now. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some sunglasses here for a second, because that is like, whoo. I try to keep the sunglasses off because it can nag you from time to time. Not that that's a big deal, but right now it is just, whoo, like right into my eyes. So, again, like I've said before, eventually this will all be irrelevant, but right now they have the in-cabin cameras dialed up to 11. And for some reason, it's probably the combination of the hat and sunglasses that that set it off. So when I'm just wearing my hat, I have no issues. When I'm just wearing sunglasses, I still have issues. So I'm just to be honest and transparent right now, it is completely hands-free. 12.5.6.3 is absolutely 100% hands-free. But if I'm going to be open and you can wear sunglasses, there was a previous version of Tesla FSD that went to hands-free. The 12.4 version went to hands-free, but you couldn't wear sunglasses at all. If you put on sunglasses, it would nag you just like you were on previous versions that still had the nag. 12.5 not only is now hands-free, but allows you to wear sunglasses. But if I'm going to be honest and transparent, when I wear sunglasses, even without wearing a hat, I still will, in a 30-minute drive, I may get nagged 2 or 3 times. Not a big deal, but I just want to be open and honest and transparent about it. I can wear a hat with no glasses for the entire 30-minute drive, hour-long drive, nada. I can wear just sunglasses and no hat and still get nagged 3 or 4 times, or I should say probably more like 2 or 3 times. So for me, I know I've had folks comment that, hey, it may be a combination of the two. I will tell you, I've tried every combination. It's the sunglasses. It is absolutely the sunglasses. Believe me, I love to wear sunglasses all day long. I'd love to be able to wear my old mug with the, I need to get these, like the bags under my, I need to get my skin stretched out, these 55-year-old eyelids. But I'd love to wear but you know, I can't do it. I want to be able to provide you with a nagless drive as much as possible. But right now, Lord have mercy. I mean, that sun is not just brilliant, it is facing me down. But so far, since I've had it on, it's been pretty good. I got one nag right at the beginning, but quite honestly, I don't think that had anything to do with the sunglasses. I was fumbling to get them on. I think that had more to do with the fact that 2 things. First of all, the sun, it made that right turn, and the sun was, bam, not just there, but directly there. And you can probably see it off of my sunglasses right now. So you had that. And then number 2, I had to look down a bit when I was fumbling with the sunglasses. So I think it got me because of that. So I'm not going to blame that on the sunglasses. I'm going to blame that on me fumbling around a bit and it just being like that initial jolt of the sun coming right at you. All right, we're about to, oh, I thought I was going to have to intervene there. I want to say it did. So we had the green light, but it did not immediately go. All right, that car was pulling out. We did great on that too, right there. So if you notice there, we didn't immediately move. I thought I was going to have to intervene there for a second to tell it, hey, it's time to go. But then it went like literally about a half a second before I was getting my foot ready to go, and I was going to intervene, but didn't have to. What I think happened there, I think that sun was so bright that it couldn't see that it was taking it a while to see that the light had changed. Quite frankly, I think the folks behind me, the same thing happened to them because I didn't get honked at. I think they didn't know the light had changed. That sun was just so bright and right in everybody's eyes. All right. Yep, and now we're about to take a left on Westlake Houston Parkway. So that's exactly what it did. It cut out the traffic between that was on, like basically around that Westlake Houston Parkway FM 1960 intersection. I'm gonna put my sunglasses back on here for a second because we're not going directly into the sun now, but it's coming at me right at my A-pillar on the right side. And actually, if I do that, it's pretty good. I let the A-pillar block it for me, but no, can't. Here, as long as I drive like this, right? All right, now we're going the opposite direction, so I should be good now. There we go. Good deal. Well, that was good. So I wore my sunglasses there for a good 5 minutes and did not get nagged. And that was in some really bright sun. So we should be good now. We're going eastbound, obviously. Coming up to a stoplight here at Eagle Springs Parkway. This is the Eagle Springs neighborhood. Very, very nice neighborhood. I know a handful of people that live in Eagle Springs. Just one, and it's fairly, I wouldn't say it's new, but I think Eagle Springs started getting developed 10, 15 years ago. I could be off a few years there, but as far as Houston neighborhoods go, it's definitely newer. So whereas Kingwood has been around since basically the 60s or 70s, the Woodlands has been around since the same thing, 70s, 80s. Eagle Springs is, yeah, maybe 15 years ago. I could be off there. It might have been 20 years ago. You know, I'm 55. 10, 20 years, what's the difference? All right. Continuing to move along. We are about a mile away from the restaurant. Excuse me. We are going 39 in a 35, and we just got passed by a constable. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we're going 5 miles over the speed limit right now, but we also just got passed by a constable. So those are just those subtle things that are difficult, right? So now we're going 41 in a 35, and we just got passed by a county constable. What do you do? I'm good at what we're doing. 41 and a 35. I honestly don't think you probably should be going much faster than that. But there's the law. You just saw the law break the law. Why is that even? Yeah, it is. Obviously it is. I was going to say, is it possible? Like, no, it is. Why did I even ask that? Of course it is. All right. So we're up to Aerobic Drive. So I think what we're going to do here is we're obviously going to take a left. I know that for a fact. We're going to take a left when the left turn signal turns. And I think what it's going to do is then take an immediate right in front of the Jiffy Lube, go past the Jiffy Lube. So technically, here's the other issue that we've had. So again, this is the parking lot to parking lot stuff. The parking lot for my wife's family restaurant is has the same parking lot as Jiffy Lube. It's all considered one big shopping center, right? So once it takes that right in front of the Jiffy Lube, technically speaking, we're there from a parking lot to parking lot perspective. All right, let me shut up here for a second and just see how it does. All right, here we go. We make our left. Let's see where we turn. Yep, we're gonna turn right here. They did not leave a lot of room. Yeah, she kind of went right down the middle. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for her to turn. There we go, good job. Yeah, she did not pick a side. In fairness to her, there was nobody usually coming through there. All right, we got a car coming to our left. We're going very cautiously right now. Okay. Continuing to go straight across. All right, now we are in the exact part of the parking lot where my wife's restaurant is. It's going to try to park. It does. And it would not pass a driving test with this parking job, but that's okay. That's not what we're trying to do. So yeah, it tried to park us again, but it did not. I'm going to have to back up and re-park it. But again, another great job. No critical interventions, no non-critical interventions. Definitely a handful of nuance comments that I had along the way. But again, I never once had to touch the other than the neck. I never once had to intervene in any way. There was no human involvement needed for me to get all the way from my house to get all the way to my wife's family restaurant. So great job, Tesla FSD. Great job, Tesla AI team. So I'm going to go in, see my wife and my mother-in-law, and won't spend too much time here. And then I'll be back in the Tesla, and we'll just film the drive back and see how that goes. All right, I'll talk to you on a little bit. Bye. All right, everybody. Done at my wife's family restaurant / boba shop, and it's time to go home. Let's go. Pulling out of the parking lot. See which way it goes. We got another vehicle coming. Got the Mercedes. Let them through. Follow right in behind them. Make a right turn, and then an immediate right at the stoplight, which is green for us. Good smooth turn. Stay in the lane, kind of. As you can hear. That said, stay in the lane, sort of. But again, no biggie, because there's, you know, it's a lane that merges there. So I think that's kind of designed for people to get over a little bit. Right, we're going through a neighborhood here in the Atascocita. We are going 29 and a 30. So absolutely fine. Losing daylight now, so it may be pretty dark by the time we get halfway through this drive. So hopefully we can keep daylight for most of it. Now, this would be about a 25-minute drive. So I don't know. It's a little bit, it's about 5:35 right now, so by 6 p.m. It's usually pretty dark by then now. All right, pulling up to West Lake Houston Parkway, getting the left lane, put on our left blinker so that we can go northbound on West Lake Houston Parkway. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody with that. You need to go northbound on West Lake Houston Parkway. Got their Christmas tree and Christmas tree lights out over there at the, I think that's the Itasca Oaks neighborhood. It's pretty. Yeah, I like seeing that. Folks are kind of piecemealing it right now. Usually that week or two right before Thanksgiving, you'll see some neighborhoods get their stuff out and some neighborhoods not. And then by the time you get to the week of Thanksgiving, pretty much, or right after Thanksgiving, pretty much everybody's got their stuff out. But right now it's just kind of piecemeal. But I love this time of year. It's actually my favorite time of year, is that Thanksgiving, Christmas time frame. Excuse me, get a little swaller of my Coke Zero here. All right, we got the green light and a protected left turn, so should not be any difficulties here. Smooth turn, stay in our lane, perfect. Picking up a little speed. We are going 39 and a 35, so that's perfect. And we'll see how it does on speed selection on the way back as well. So thus far, in the two areas we've gone through, it's done really good on speed selection. All right, going by the middle school, Atascocita Middle School. Looks like there's something going on at the school tonight. A lot of cars in there. All right, slowing down for the congestion here, which is fairly normal at 5:45 in the evening on a Thursday at the intersection of Westlake Houston Parkway and FM 1960. Continuing to progress on through, we got cars to the left and to the right trying to get onto Westlake Houston Parkway. Handle that nicely. Got a car trying to get over. We allow them to get over. It's like a Kia Sorento. Yeah, I do not know how much daylight, well, really there's no daylight right now, but I don't know how much light we're going to have left here. But no big whoop. Yeah, every once in a while I like to do nighttime drives too. I know that the only downside to nighttime drives is it's tough to see the footwell on the video, this area right here. So you get to see some nice drives, but you don't get to see everything that you do during the day. But I don't know, it's nice to have a little combination of all of them. Obviously mostly daytime drives so that you can see everything in action, and so that you can see the full steering wheel and a fully lit footwell in the vehicle. But the nighttime drives, those can be some of the most gorgeous drives, especially when you're going into like the downtown area. All right, we got the stoplight. We make a stop. So we're gonna unfortunately have to sit through the stoplight again. And this is one of the longer ones. This is probably about a 2-minute. Oh, we'll time it. That was about, yeah. So I've got it in my head about what time we got to this stoplight. So we'll just see. I believe this is a 2-minute one, because this is a pretty major intersection right here. But again, no big whoop. And I love the fact that Tesla FSD has no ego, and it is not impatient. As much as we may be as humans, because we obviously have ego, and we obviously lose our patience from time to time, especially at 5:45 in the evening on a Thursday. And understandably so, folks just wanting to get home, see their kids, see their significant others, see their family after a long day at the office or wherever they were, what they were doing. But you know, it's always better just to be patient, even if it's going to add a couple of minutes to your drive, because you'll never get, if you know, the worst case scenario, those 2 minutes are just going to look paltry in comparison. And software just doesn't care about any of that. It just wants to get you home safely and efficiently. All right, we got a green light, and that was about 1.5 minutes. So it wasn't a full 2 minutes. It's only 1.5 minutes. There you go. 90 seconds. That's it. When people run red lights, they're literally saying 90 seconds is that important to me. I'm willing to risk my life for 90 seconds. Think about that. The next time you see somebody run a red light, remind yourself, they just risked their life for 90 seconds. All right? Coming to a stop sign here. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Stop light, not sign. At Pine Cup. Got the green. Continue to move on. Yeah. I think the light's just about out. That was quick. Here I was about 10 minutes ago. I was like, I don't know how much daylight we're going to have left. 10 minutes later, it's night. That's how quick. Man, daylight savings time combined with the winter. Or actually, I guess it's not technically winter yet, right? When is the official first day of winter? I forget, is it? To check on that. It's definitely not winter here. It's gotten colder here in Houston. We've had a little cold spell here. Last couple of mornings, it's been like in the 40s when we wake up, but it's been really nice. So I kind of like that. When you wake up and it's nice and sunny, or the sun's about to come out, you can get it right before the sun or right after the sun came out, and it's about 48 degrees, crisp, sunny, blue skies. That's pretty good. I like that. But definitely not winter. Not by most people's standards. Right, we got another traffic light coming up here at Upper Lake Drive. We keep the green light. Oh, we just got it. Turned yellow as we were going through, but we're good to go. Los Jarritos. I don't think I've ever eaten there. It used to be something different. Alright, got a car that went across, but that was fine. It was a pretty good sized gap between them and us. Now right now we are going 40 and a 40. So we're good. 42 and a 40. So it's been selecting speeds pretty good thus far. We'll see how it does across the bridge. If you saw in my video where I took my family to the Mariah Carey concert at the Toyota Center in downtown Houston a couple of days ago, when we were coming back home, we came across this bridge. Now granted, that was at like 11 o'clock at night, pitch black, no street lights, no other vehicles, and it was going 39 and a 45. So I'm curious this time as we go across the bridge this direction, going northbound, if it does a better speed selection since there's vehicles around. So we are, let's see, it switches over to a 45 mile per hour zone as you're going across the bridge, and we are going 47 and a 45, 48 and a 45, 49 and a 45, and we are going with traffic. Yeah, the only two things different, and we're getting over to the right because we have a car that wants to go faster behind us. Excellent. So we are going 49 and a 45. We get over to the right to allow another vehicle to go past us. Now we're going 52 and a 45. And we're going with traffic. And there's another vehicle that's obviously going about 55 and a 45. So the only two things different is it was a lot darker, and for some reason I don't think these lights were on or working at that time. So it's pitch black and there were no vehicles around me. So I think the thing that was more important was there were no vehicles around me. So you can see there the difference. 2 days ago we go 39 and a 45. Today we go 52 and a 45. The only difference is vehicles around me. So I really do think that is an important input to the speed selection in Tesla FSD right now, is the other traffic. And I think that is not just perfectly fine, I think that is correct. I think it should be keeping that probably as its primary input. This vehicle in front of us doesn't have their lights on. That's interesting. Usually cars today have automatic lights for the evening time. So I'm not sure why they don't have their lights on. Actually, it looks like a little bit of an older van. All right, continuing to move along. We're going to get over in the left lane here. Presumably because that van was going a little slower than the rest of traffic. Because we still got a couple of miles before we get to North Park. All right, we're getting into a fairly congested area now. Between here and Kingwood Drive, it is going to be pretty congested, even more so than it was when we were coming through. Because, like I said, it's almost 6 p.m. now, and it's darker. Folks still trying to make their way home after a hard day at work. That is not me anymore. It was for decades, for 3+ decades, but I am now proudly retired. So this is my gig now. What a gig. No, obviously it's not a gig. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. So yeah, I'm just enjoying the retired life. I did an early retirement at the age of 55. And yeah, I'm just enjoying it so far. So I have been officially retired now for about a month and a half, or a little longer than that. I retired effectively September 30th of this year. So, well, I guess almost 2 months here in a week or so after Thanksgiving. It'll be 2 months, but enjoying it thus far. I've done 2 road trips. So I went all the way out to California, went to LA, and visited at least a dozen places, both on the way to LA and then on the way back, and took 2 completely routes. The route I took to LA, I went through Amarillo, Texas, obviously you call it the Albuquerque area of New Mexico. Okay, we're gonna have to stop here. Not gonna be able to make it through that. That's fine. Went to the Grand Canyon in Arizona. Went to Joshua Tree in Southern California. And then on to LA. And spent about 4 days in the LA area. I was there for the 1010 event for Tesla, where they unveiled the Cybercab, which is just amazing. I really, really hope they're starting to have, I guess it's not a demo. What do you call it when, a display. They're starting to display the Cybercab at certain Tesla delivery centers. And I'm seeing pictures of it on X at different places around the country. So I really hope they bring it to Houston here pretty soon. I'll definitely go and check that out. But yeah, so I was in Los Angeles, in Burbank, for the 1010 event. Got to meet a lot of great people in the Tesla community. And then after the 1010 event was over, my wife flew out to LA, and we spent the rest of we had kind of a long weekend there. She is originally from the LA area. She, specifically Long Beach. So I know a lot of folks in Long Beach will say, I'm not from LA, I'm from Long Beach, but you know what I mean. The greater LA metro area. So she's originally from the Long Beach area section of the Los Angeles metropolitan area. And so we obviously have a lot of family and friends out there. And our favorite, just for the two of us, our favorite place to visit and stay when we are in the Los Angeles area is Huntington Beach. I just love that area. I absolutely love that Huntington Beach, Seal Beach, Newport Beach, you know, that part of Orange County. It's just, for me, it's gorgeous. The beaches are just beautiful. Lot of retired military and military veterans around there. So obviously, me being a Marine veteran, that is just, it clicks for me. So you got people that love the sun, love being at the beach, and they're, you know, retired military or military veteran. So it's like, well, that's me. The only difference is I don't pay their state taxes. And I'm not paying $2,000 a square foot or whatever the rate is there. So yeah, all the jokes aside on the economics there, it's just a beautiful state. I absolutely adore California. And I also love the people that are there. I have, make no mistake about it, folks, some of the nicest people, down-to-earth people you will ever meet in your life are when you drive through the state of California. Don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong. I can get going on, you know, plenty of things about the state of California, but it sure as heck is not their people, and it sure as heck is not their scenery. The scenery is just, quite frankly, some of the most beautiful in the world, especially in Southern California. So I get it. I get why, you know, a lot of my friends are just like, I'm never leaving California. You want to know why? Go visit. Go visit and spend some time there, and you'll be like, I kind of get it. Not enough for me, just personally, but I love visiting. And thankfully, we always have a great excuse to visit because we have family there. So yeah, anyway, we spent a long weekend out there, and then my wife, she had to fly back for work. And when she flew back, then I just took the circuitous route back home. I went up to the Las Vegas area, and then I went to Moab, Utah, and Zion National Forest, which is also in Utah. And then I went to Western Colorado and visited with one of my best buds, Landon, out there. Stayed with him for a evening, and he and I went out the next day and did some adventuring around rural Western Colorado. God, again, just gorgeous. Just, I mean, obviously Colorado. I mean, you're 11,000 feet up most of the time, and just, man, those mountains are, sometimes they look like they're painted. They're not real. So had a great time. Then we went to, where was it? It wasn't Vail, it was the other place, but Landon took me to one of those resort, Telluride, and we went to Telluride and hung out there. Weren't a lot of people at Telluride. It was like that in-between season time. And then I was gonna go to Denver and meet up with some folks that I know up there, but then I got caught in a snowstorm, basically. Now, I say snowstorm to folks that live in Colorado. They would probably say, JC, that was not a snowstorm. That was like the beginning of fall. But for me, the minute I see snow coming down and sleet at 11,000 feet from where I'm from, that's a snowstorm. So they always say, you know, don't try to have valor in a situation like that. So yeah, I decided, game time decision, yeah, I'm not gonna keep going eastbound, in fact, going northbound. I was gonna have to go northeast to get up to Denver. So I just started heading south towards Texas. And note to self, if you're gonna go drive around Colorado, unless you know how to drive in the snow, maybe your cutoff is sometime in November. Take my word on it. So anyway, yeah, and then I just went back through the rest of Texas, Amarillo, and down on into north central and central Texas, and came on home. So, but had a great time. So that was my first big road trip, and that was about 2 weeks. So I was on the road for a good 2 weeks, and then my second road trip was up to Kentucky. Unfortunately, the reason for that road trip was my brother-in-law having to get surgery on his neck and spine. So unfortunately, not the best reason to have to go do a road trip, but you know, you take lemons and turn it into lemonade. While we were there, and once he was done with his surgery and we knew he was stable, we went ahead and spent another week there to be with him. And so my wife could, you know, be there with him during the day, but he gave me the clearance to go ahead and go adventure around Kentucky. So that's what I did. I went around Kentucky, went up into southern Indiana, and it was great. Got to visit a lot of places, did some beautiful drives. Kentucky is just a beautiful state. That's what I'm telling you. There are so many beautiful parts of this country. You just got to go out and visit it. You really got to get a Tesla with FSD and go visit this country. You know that the cost to power a Tesla is much less expensive than paying for gas for an internal combustion engine car. Much more comfortable to be in a Tesla with all the great software and components you have. Plus, it's got FSD. It can drive you. So you really, truly get to enjoy the drive. So I look forward to road trips in a Tesla with FSD. But yeah, I got to see a lot of just beautiful places in Kentucky. Went to basically stayed mostly in that central and southern part of Kentucky. So I didn't get to go over to eastern Kentucky. I was, you know, unfortunately, I couldn't get away that long. I mean, I wanted to be back home at the Airbnb at the end of every day, just in case my brother-in-law needed me for something. And so I think if I'd have gone and adventured out to the eastern part of the state, I would have needed to stay overnight somewhere. And I just didn't want to do that while he was still in the hospital. So pretty much stuck within about a 200-mile radius of Louisville so that I could get back at the end of each day. But yeah, it was just, some beautiful, beautiful drives. Just a gorgeous state. Went to Abraham Lincoln's childhood home. And they've got a state park out there, or actually it's a national park, commemorating his childhood home. I did the Frankfort Pike, which is a beautiful drive between Frankfort, Kentucky and Lexington, Kentucky. And obviously Lexington is where they do the Kentucky Derby. And so that 17-mile stretch of Frankfort Pike is just horse farms all the way up and down. And the landscapes are just beautiful. Obviously the horses out there are just gorgeous. So, and did again, went to some rural parts of central and southern Kentucky and did some drives through there. And the other thing that was great is because it was early November, the leaves were just starting to change. So it wasn't like full on leaf changing. So I think maybe a week or two after we left would have just been perfect from a leaves changing perspective. By the way, we just did great at that 4-way stop. But that would have been perfect. We were there in late October, early November, And so, in fact, we left like, yeah, it was like November 4th or something. So it was basically the last week of October, first week of November time frame. And they were just starting to change there. So I think probably mid-November would have just been perfect. My guess is right about now is the leaves are falling. So you still got, and that's still beautiful. That once they've all changed and as the leaves start falling, that's beautiful too. So it's all, you know, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous state with some beautiful drives. So yeah, get yourself a Tesla, get FSD on it, subscribe to FSD. Let me exit out of that. And we will go ahead and exit right here. And we are done. We're in our neighborhood. So let me turn that off. So yeah, get a Tesla, subscribe to FSD, and go see this beautiful country of ours, because it is gorgeous. And I've always said the only thing more beautiful than our country are the people that inhabit it. I'm telling you, just got to go talk to them. They are nothing like what gets portrayed elsewhere. Wherever you're getting used, everybody from all stripes, all political persuasions, all ethnicities, all races, like I said, all political persuasions. I've told you, California, I'm from Texas. I'm from East Texas. I live here in East Texas, Southeast Texas. And some of the nicest people I've ever met were when I was driving through California. And you couldn't have two more diametrically different states from a political standpoint, but some of the nicest people I met are in California. But you got to talk to them. Don't consider like what you see online or what you see in the media. They're great people. They really, really are. And that was every place else I went to. New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kentucky, Indiana. I've been to all of them. I think I've visited 17 states in a 3 to 4 week period. And I saw beautiful, beautiful things about every single one of them, and a lot of wonderful people along the way. So get yourself a Tesla, subscribe to FSD, and go see it for yourself. And talk to people for yourself. And man, what you will come away with, I came away from both of those road trips just so energized and loving my country. I mean, if I could love it more, I did. And it's hard for me to love this country any more than I already do as a Marine. But it did. It really not only energized me, but fortified my love in this country and this experiment. This 200 and almost 50-year-old experiment we call the United States of America. And with that melodramatic moment, I will say thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please like and subscribe. And I'll keep doing these. I love doing them. It's my passion. Like I said, I'm retired, so this is just my passion project. To help push this along. And yeah, so I will talk to y'all again very, very soon, maybe tomorrow. All right, everyone, I hope y'all have a great evening, and see you again soon. Bye.